Hey book friends, it's Caitlin and Tishka here from Spill the Reads. And today I'm doing my June wrap up. I'm going to tell you all about the 6 books that I read in June, as well as I don't know, maybe like the 10 other ones that I may have started, DNF'd, or I'm just continuing on with for next month. Uh, I'm gonna try not to be distracted by this little movie that my iPad is playing, but it's really hard seeing all these beautiful flashing colors. Let's just get right into it. Here we go. I see book number 1, Rabbit Hole. I'm actually going backwards. I'm going with the ones that I just finished because I feel like I've talked a lot about some of the other ones that I've already read this month. All right, let's talk about Rabbit Hole. So this is a book, like a mystery thriller rec that I got from the Ellen Made Book Club. Thank you, Ellen. Although Tishka was not a fan of this book. Whoa, that was kind of harsh for him. So I think I'm actually going to be reading some books for Tishka in July. I think I'm going to let him choose what we read in July. So I'm going to try to make that video happen. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. This is a mystery about a girl whose sister went missing 10 years before, and now her dad just took his own life. This book is about grief and the mystery as well, but it's really kind of like a sad story about like a girl kind of going down this rabbit hole and um, how her grief manifests in these really ugly kind of grotesque ways. It's a character study that's it's really more focused around this character rather than like the mystery, but so that's why I feel like it has low ratings on Goodreads. I also didn't really love this book, but like I support what it was trying to do. But let's get back to what the actual plot is about. So she, after her dad kills himself, she's going through his stuff and she sees that he was actually working on his own investigation, like cold case stuff on Reddit. And she finds this subreddit called Unsolved Mysteries, and she finds out that people have information about the case, and so she starts getting really obsessed with this, and she meets this girl who knows some information, and they just kind of start digging together, and things just really start getting out of hand. I mean, I was pretty engaged in this book, and I really enjoyed the first half, but then the second half kind of just was just really hard to read through the characters suffering, because I really wanted um, her to be okay. So I don't really know what I would rate this book, but it definitely wasn't very uplifting, and Tishka was definitely not a fan of everything that happened with the dog in this book. All right, so let's move on. Okay, let's talk about, wow, I read a lot of thrillers this month. It's funny because my mood is always changing with books. I do like thrillers a lot, but last month I didn't read any thrillers at all. It was all weird lit fic. And then this month I read basically all either thrillers, mystery, or horror. So it looks like I'm getting back into my normal kind of reading genre. So I read The Tenant by Freida McFadden. This was my third ever Freida McFadden book. I really like listening to her on audio book. I just find the fast paced plot something that's nice to listen to while I'm walking Tishka or just generally multitasking. So I did generally enjoy this book. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. But the more reviews and stuff that I watch and read, the less that I like the book. But that's not really fair. So I'm trying to get back to my own personal reading experience of this book. This book is Freida McFadden's first male protagonist starring story. And it's about this guy named Blake who is such a jerk. So already this could be hard for some people to read, reading through his perspective, because he's super annoying. But he just gets fired from his awesome job for some unjust reason, and he's struggling to pay his mortgage. And so he and his fiance decide to take on a tenant, and everyone is like super weird and eccentric who comes to the visit, and so they end up choosing this girl who seems like the most normal, and her name is Whitney. And so she moves in, and then immediately like hell breaks loose, and like Blake is going crazy from like stuff happening in the apartment. Like he's like getting this rash from the washing machine, and there's like fruit flies everywhere, and just everything is kind of going wrong. And he's just like starting to lose his grip. And it's like a question of like just not if, but when he's going to snap. And then in like typical Freida McFadden fashion, at least compared to like the other books that I've read by her, The Housemaid, the second half of the book like flips and we see another perspective. I'm not going to say whose perspective that you see because I feel like that could allude to the twist, although there are a couple of twists in this book. Did I see them coming? Uh, not really. Like I saw the first twist coming like just before it was announced, but the thing that was I struggled with this book was that I feel like the characters they're just like not really strong. Like the Blake guy, he's just like such a jerk. Like he'll be like, "Oh, like these women are crazy," or like, "Oh, that woman is sexy. That woman's crazy. That woman's hot." And like, and then he's like, "Oh, like I want to strangle this person." And like, I couldn't tell if Freida McFadden was like making fun of him or like if she really thought that like this is like how men are. And so like, I never really like felt like I could guess what was going to happen because I didn't know if it was suspicious behavior or just kind of like not great writing. And like same with like the women, like the Krista, who's the fiance, and Whitney, the tenant. Like I don't know, I just like wasn't really getting a lot from them, and I didn't see things coming in the book. I did enjoy listening to it, but it's not really like something that's super memorable for me. Um, and by the end of it, I was like kind of sick of it. But you know, it did entertain me while I was walking, so that's why I initially gave it like 3.5 stars. But yeah, it's aging poorly in my mind. All right, let's talk about a thriller that I really enjoyed and gave 4.5 stars. It's My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. This is only a 4 hour long book, and I listened to it completely like while I was running, and I was just so impressed by how invested I could get in a story that was so short. Like the characters just feel really realistic, and even though the story is not super plausible, like it's just a it's just a great story, and it was really refreshing to read something that wasn't by like another American or British author because I feel like the majority of books I read, especially thrillers, are written in places that are like more familiar to me. And I've never been to Nigeria, but it was really cool to kind of imagine this happening in Lagos. So this is about a nurse, and she works in a hospital. Her name is Korede, and her sister Ayola is a serial killer. She's just killed her third boyfriend, and Korede, she's not like angry. She's just like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, when are you gonna stop doing this? Like, the mood is kind of like it's kind of like dark comedy a little bit. Um, and so she keeps like having to help her sister like clean up her mess. And her sister is just like this really beautiful but very lazy girl, and she just keeps getting into trouble, offing her boyfriends until one day what happens is that Corday is like in love with this doctor at the hospital, and the doctor ends up seeing Ayola, her sister, and it's like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Can I have her phone number? And so you can kind of like guess where the story is going to go. Uh, Cora Day is going to have to figure out what to do when the love of her life and her very dangerous sister are like kind of getting together. Such a good book. I really enjoyed this. Fantastic, awesome book. Hello, my baby. Okay, what else did we read? Patricia Wants to Cuddle. This book was so good. I gave this 5 stars. I saw a bookstagrammer I like refer to this as bubblegum horror. And I really like that because it's true. Like the horror books that I tend to like are usually written by women and they're usually really fun and kind of like pretty. Like they're not extremely gruesome. And yeah, I just had such a good time reading this book. It's like reality TV satire, and it's about this reality TV dating show. Um, the finale is going to be on this island because they're trying to save money. So they go to this like remote island in the Pacific Northwest, and it's like just completely isolated and creepy like immediately. And the story goes it's like shown through different perspectives of like the girls on the show, and we get to see their real motivations for wanting to be on TV, which is just so much fun. Like I love this. Like they're all really cliche. Like you have like influencers and models. um there's like a really religious girl who's like trying to like evangelize. Like there's just like all these different really really funny people. Like it's just hilarious. I loved it. You also get to see like the producer's perspective. Oh, it's so good. uh, I just loved it. I was just like laughing the whole time. And so basically they get to this island, like I said, and like weird, it feels really kind of foreboding, and we find out that there's like this monster that lives there. I'm not going to say what happens, but you can kind of guess. Eventually, the two groups are going to come together, and it's going to be chaotic and super camp and very fun. I love this book. I can't recommend it enough. It's very just silly and a good time. Let me know if you read it or if you plan on reading it. Okay, I'm going to talk about Eat the Ones You Love pretty briefly because I feel like I've already talked about it like 10 times this month. It already has its own spoiler free review. So if you find this little spiel intriguing and you want to hear more, I will link that. This is queer Irish literary horror about a plant that needs to eat people. And it's in this creepy mall in northeastern Ireland, and this florist has been like keeping this plant alive. And it like there's all these mysterious events that have happened in the past, like in this mall, and like we realize that like it's like the plant that's been eating people. I know that I'm describing it in a way that would make it seem like it's funny, but it's not actually like a funny book. It's actually really really scary. And this is one of the rare times where like a fantasy kind of villain thing has been able to scare me, because that doesn't really happen. Like it's hard for me to usually get into the kind of like things that are not real or like not possible. And so it's still surprising me that this book managed to terrify me. Like it really really scared me. And so this girl starts working at the florist shop, and she and the other florist who works there, they're kind of like starting to fall in love with each other. And you just really start to get to know the characters and really like them. And so I was just so scared that they were going to get eaten by this like evil plant. So it's very like dark and suspenseful. I just loved it. Like I really really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars because I was unclear on the ending. I just like have no idea what happened at the end. So I think that's why I knocked it down, but I still highly recommend this. Let's talk about a couple of arcs that I read and I'm still reading. This one is just not for me. Vampires at Sea, like no offense to the author or anything. I just like shouldn't have requested this because I feel like I thought it was about something else when I read like a vampire cruise at sea, and it turns out that it's just like sexcapades and not really like much of a story. And yeah, I should have just maybe read some more reviews before requesting it. So didn't have a great time, but not gonna like talk trash about it. This Stays Between Us by Sara Ochs. I'm halfway through this right now, and honestly, I am kind of struggling. Look, I loved her last book, The Resort. That one happens in Thailand, and this girl at the diving school is like murdered, and it's like a whodunit between all these characters at the diving school. They're all like shady expats. fantastic. Like I loved it. And so I thought this one, I was hoping that it would be like as good, but I'm just not really enjoying it nearly as much. This takes place in Australia, and you can't really feel like the exotic travel vibe. Like, uh, they're like, oh, they're eating Vegemite, and this guy has like a scar from a spider. Like, I don't know. I'm not really feeling like that excitement about the location. And it's about this group of students who did a study abroad program like 10 years ago, and one of them went missing, and they just found out that her body was found. And so they have to all come back to Australia because of the police investigation. And the protagonist keeps like alluding every 5 seconds to the fact that she had something to do with like her friend's death. And I'm just kind of struggling through it. I hope it gets better because, like, when I get approved for ARCs, like, I try my hardest to read until the end, but like, I just keep picking up my phone every chapter, reading this, not really enjoying. But I will let you guys know. So another book I'm currently like halfway through is Mon Mari by Maud Ventura. You might recognize the English cover, My Husband. And this is about like this woman who's super obsessed with her husband. It's like just through her perspective, and she tries to like hide how obsessed with him she is because she doesn't want to like freak him out. But the thing is, like, he's just like this like seemingly like random dude, and she just like she she's obsessed with every single little thing about him. And that's like the interesting part of the book because she'll be like freaking out over like his dandruff or like looking at the receipts from when he goes to the grocery store like, oh my gosh, look at the stuff he bought for me. And so you're just kind of reading and like kind of like making this face like, why does she like him so much? And I'm at the halfway point right now, and basically she's like freaking out because they're at this dinner party, and he just the husbands had to say like what kind of fruit their wives were for this game, and he compares her to a clementine, and she just freaks out, and she's like, oh my god, like our marriage is over. He thinks that I'm like a stupid clementine, like this crappy little winter fruit that like kids take to school. And so you're kind of just like watching her be super delusional. Um, it's pretty entertaining. I am reading this in French, so it's kind of like a different perspective for me because it's like a language learning exercise for me. Like I do speak French, but I don't often read in French. So it's more like slow going, and I'm like looking up words as I go. That's one of the benefits, I think, to reading on an e-reader because you have built-in dictionaries and you can kind of just like tap and define words and highlight them. And if I were reading this on paper, like I definitely would be too lazy to look up new words. So anyway, I'll let you guys know how that goes. Another book that I think I'm like 30% through this audiobook, We Could Be Heroes by Philip Ellis. I heard about this on a podcast and was really excited to read it because I heard there were two meet cutes. And this is about this American actor who's in the closet, and he comes to Birmingham, England to film a superhero movie. And while he's there, he ends up at like a drag club, and he meets this drag queen, and they're kind of like into each other. They have this meet cute. And then the drag queen, I think his name is Will, he also works at like a bookshop. And so the two meet again at the bookshop, but the actor like doesn't recognize the bookshop guy because he's not in drag, and they kind of like each other again, and they're on a hunt to find this like rare comic. And it's just really cute so far. Like the writing is super witty and is just cracking me up. Like it's very, very funny. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I will let you guys know how it goes. I'm a sleepy boy. Okay, let's talk about Misery by Stephen King. Will this be the first Stephen King book that I finish? Like, no offense to Stephen King. I tried to read The Shining over the winter. I read like 30% of it, and it's not that I didn't like it. I was enjoying it, but my loan expired before I had a chance to finish it, and I just, by the time I got in line again and the book became available again, it like wasn't winter anymore. And I feel like you should read The Shining when it's in the middle of winter. And so here I am, of course, in summer trying to read another winter book, um, Misery. So I feel like most people might be familiar with the story. Luckily, like I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know that much about it. But what I can say is that it's not going super well, but I'm like determined to try. I think that I just don't really connect with male writers, especially not of like my own generation, as well as I do with like women who are around my age. But I don't want to be someone that like only wants to read from the perspective of like someone who's like me. So I'm trying, and even if I don't like this book, I'm gonna try Pet Cemetery. Maybe like I actually have this book now on Libby, but I might wait until spooky season. Okay, so this is about an author who gets in a car crash, and his number one fan is like nursing him back to health, except for that she's like keeping him prisoner, and she doesn't like his new book because he kills off her favorite character named Misery. And so, yeah, I feel like everyone already knows what happens in here, but he's going through it right now with this woman Annie Wilkes. Yeah, it's just okay. Like I'm semi interested, but I just like don't really love the writing style. Okay, let's get into another one. I just bought this, so I own this book. It was only 99 cents. I couldn't find it through my library. Fantasian by Larissa Pham. I heard someone talking about it on Instagram, and I was just like super intrigued. It's a psycho thriller novella about a woman in New York who comes across her doppelganger, but it's like a more confident version like of her. And I'm not very far in yet, but I'm pretty sure that they start like getting together. It's supposed to be like very spicy and weird, but I don't know. I was just intrigued and thought that sounded like fun. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get into the ones that I DNF'd this month. Unfortunately, I couldn't get with The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. I was so sure that I was going to love this book based on some reviews that I saw, very enthusiastic reviews. Actually, Rye Reads was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thriller I've read this year." And I need to stop like thinking that just because someone else like loves it, it doesn't mean that I'm going to have the same experience. And I don't know, I found like I was like forcing myself to continue and like waiting to like it, which was just never going to happen. So I read like 50% of it. I think in general, it's hard for me to get into books with like things that are not real. So some kind of like fantasy aspect. And here we have this staircase in the woods. This group of friends. There's a staircase, and when they were teenagers, one of their friends, when they were camping, went up this like staircase in the woods that they found, and he never came back. And years later, they find the staircase again when they're like adults. And what do they do? What do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna go up the staircase and try to like find out what happened to their friend. Um, yeah, I just wasn't really vibing with the writing. It's hard for me to describe it. It felt like really kind of like aggressive and kind of crass. Um, and there's like several different characters that you have there, maybe like 4 or 5 friends, and we follow like 2 of their perspectives. Like, I don't know, I just like wasn't getting into it. I hope that other people enjoy it because I know a lot of my friends are gonna read this, but I just didn't really like it, so I stopped once it started to get like a little bit gory actually. The other horror book that I DNF'd, Nat Cassidy. I've never read anything by him, so I tried this one, When the Wolf Comes Home. It's like the big bad wolf in LA. And so we have this scary wolf that's like hunting down this kid, and this girl that works at a diner ends up finding the kid like in her yard, and she's like trying to save him from this like crazy wolf man that's like terrorizing LA. Yeah, it's just hard for me to be afraid of something that's not real. So this kind of like big magical scary wolf. So I stopped pretty early on. And yeah, I think that's it, you guys. That's all of the books that I tried. There are a couple more that I think I'm just going to completely restart next month, like The Really Dead Wives of New Jersey. I was trying to listen to it as an audiobook, and there are too many characters, so I'm going to read it as an ebook. And I'm also going to restart Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. I was like too distracted with whatever I was doing to pay attention, so I need to restart that. And that's it. So 6 books finished, about 10 other books started. The reason why I like have so many books going on at the same time is because I always check out too many books at once on Libby, but before they like expire, I don't get to them. I try to at least like sample them to see if it's worth putting on hold again. So that's why I get so many. Like I start so many at the same time just to know if I should try it again in the future. All right, thanks for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed this chaotic video, and stick around for next month where I think I'm gonna let Tishka choose what we're gonna read. Hi, baby. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.